Hey, good morning, my people. What's up? Today is Thursday, the 13th day of August, 2026, and the time right now is 2 minutes after the 9 a.m. hour. 2 minutes after the 9 a.m. hour. Well, as you can see on my backdrop, the Bible says in Proverbs chapter 18, verse 7, a fool's mouth is his destruction, and his lips are a snare of his soul. This morning, as I got up and I was doing my normal reading, I came upon an article. I guess the name of this site here is All News Reports, and there's a story captioned "Prime Minister of Antigua and Barbuda responds to the joint statement by the Caribbean heads of judiciary." It's a long, it's a long piece, but basically, when I read it, that is the Prime Minister's response to this body, the Caribbean heads of judiciary. They put out a statement yesterday. A lot of people put out statements yesterday. I smiled to myself as I read it, and I said, "Boy, my mind ran to this proverb, this text." So I went through it, and that's my backdrop. As you follow, or as I follow this matter that has developed, well, in this piece here, there's a part there that says, bam, 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 bam. It's a very long piece, as I said. Um, that is not career doing lawful. That's not that. Where it says, I did not. Where is it? That one stood out by itself. Do I have it here? Oh, no, that's not in there. Let me just see if I could quickly find it. We said, I did not. It was not. That was a sentence that stood out. That was by itself. Um, when I read that part, I smiled because maybe I listened to a wrong maybe I listened to a wrong recording. That's possible. The heads of Oh yes, right here. The heads of judiciary treated my language as though it represented executive instructions against the judge. It did not. That's what it says in the response here. Now maybe, me far from being a lawyer, me not bright as them. But if somebody says to me, brother man, if you don't follow the directions of the executive, I'll deport you from this country, or I'll will determine that you're persona non grata and deport you from this country. If I said something like that, I would understand that to mean that I am saying, as I said in the words that I use, if you don't follow the if you don't follow the line of the executive, this is what it's going to be. So how is that not an instruction? But again, as I said, me ain't really as smart as these guys, so maybe I got it wrong. You will determine. But that when I read that part, I smiled to myself. The heads of judiciary have treated my language as though it represented executive instructions against a judge. It did not. As a matter of fact, let me read on a little bit. It was a last resort warning to bring attention to the judicial hierarchy that if they fail to address the indiscretion and deliberate disregard of their members for the legislature on serious firearms, which provides up to 15 years custodial sentences, then our government may be forced to use other remedies to protect the citizen. That's what I see here in the reply. Now, boy, be so glad me the bright like that. Firstly, my recollection of the recording, and I have it, is that what was said against a judge, quote unquote. That's the first thing. I didn't hear nothing targeted at the judicial hierarchy. I didn't hear that. I heard that brother man, and I'm using the word brother man because as an Antiguan we know what that means. And the school children say the statement was not targeted at the judge. It was targeted at the magistrate. But judge was used. You know, they talk about throw something across the trail to pull you off the trail. That's what school children say. I can say a little bit more, but I will not at this point in time. I have spoken to a few persons, or myself and a crew that we have. We have spoken, and by 11 o'clock this morning, God spare life. If needs be, I can say a little more, but don't take the word brother man for granted. And persons know what I'm talking about. Persons know what I'm talking about. But more will be said along the line. But as I was saying, this, what was said was targeted to a brother man. Let me put it that way. Not a warning, last resort warning to bring attention to the judiciary hierarchy. It was after the bar put out its statement, and there was a response to the bar statement that a letter was written to. Let me go to it. A letter was written to 2026. A letter was written to the no, as a matter of fact, it's dated the 13th. It's just now I'm realizing the letter is dated the 13th, so maybe it hasn't even reached us yet. That a letter was written to Her Ladyship, the Honorable Madam Margaret Price Finlay, hope I'm pronouncing that correctly, the Chief Justice. And the letter is in the newspaper, so y'all can go read it. It's a quite a lengthy letter. So I don't, anyway, let me not say I don't understand because I do understand. I do understand. But you see, as I keep saying in these videos, you can fool some of the people some of the time. You can't fool all of the people all the time. And if persons are honest with themselves, they would see that the game that they have been playing has come to an end. I'm confident. I'm conscious with that. I am convinced with that. It's only a matter of time. It's only a matter of time. But after the Caribbean heads of judiciary statement, that was on the 12th. That was dated the 12th, and then somebody sent me a post where he said there would have been a response, and the response came out this morning, at least in this news site here, as I said. All news reports. I don't know where that page is from, if it's local or if it is regional, I don't know. But it's in there. But I noted those areas and I just smiled to myself. I just smiled to myself. We will see what response comes back from the Chief Justice. We will see. But I can tell you, people, and I say this with a heavy heart, believe you me. You see this country here? This country here is it has some interesting people in there. And I'm not only talking about politicians now. I'm talking about people who occupy certain positions. Um, some things are going to come out. Some things are going to come out. You see some people on camera and you believe that they're innocent, they're far from innocent. And as I said before, and I'll say again, and I'm not going to say plenty of times, because I'm going to believe and repeat myself so much. Come I talk to animals. And as this elder tell me, talk to animals twice, human being once. Those persons who allow themselves to be used. And when the shit hit the fan, them for them the name go come up. For them the signature go come up. Wherever I get, I attack. There's no pity from beef. There's no pity from Audley Dave Joseph, aka Beef. Because when I'm gonna get the proceeds and the sweets from y'all being used, I wasn't there. And the public don't know. But you're gonna hear names coming out. You're going to hear who wrote to who. As a matter of fact, as I said that, I mean, people who occupy certain positions just don't even know the law, they don't even know procedure. And them they occupy some senior position in this country. Them they occupy some, but you're gonna hear, you're gonna see. Because I've seen the letter. We've circulated in our group. We're waiting for certain things that will become, we don't want to speak too soon. But by 11 o'clock this morning, we will know for sure. And then persons will speak. All information will begin to circulate. But there's some people in this country. And, I think it was, I always tell her this movie, Brewster's Million. It was a movie with Richard Pryor and John Kent, Brewster's Million. If you go and look at the last scene, second to last scene, the last in the movie, that's when I heard it and it stuck with me for years. Corruption can't just work up there. Or corruption just can't work in the middle. Or corruption can't just work down in the bottom. Corruption have to run from top right through. That's how then corrupt things get done. Because there are things that persons on top can do that somebody in the middle of it. And there are things that persons in the middle can do that somebody down the bottom of it. And from the documentation that I've seen, and I see some people on camera looking all innocent and pious, and for them the signature I see on the letter. And for them the signature. Common sense tell me if I'm working in an organization and I have an issue with my supervisor, when I go to the CEO, I go through the channel and eventually gets to the CEO. And that's why I say people who occupy certain positions, when you see them signature for certain letters, you can say, huh? But it doesn't really surprise me because the person occupies a position at the behest of other persons. And that is the difference in a man who have strength of character to stand up for right. And when you see you're being pressured to do wrong, to move on. Anyway, we're not going to say much more on that at this point in time. But after 11, I'm sure that we'll be able to say, I'm pretty sure is what is going to happen. But sometimes, you have to let it happen before you say things. And that's what I encourage my little group. Let's not get ahead of ourselves. We know you got the intelligence. Let us wait. Let us wait. So that when we go forward, somebody now will come in and excuse, oh, this didn't happen because of that. No, let us wait. We'll know by 11 a.m. today. Bless up, my people. Keep safe, drink your water, and keep good. God bless.